Welcome back to our four-part series on protein. I want to really quickly reestablish some of what I am calling my own ground rules for this episode. Number one, I am assuming that you want to age with resilience, strength, and functionality. We are looking for grandma goals here, where we are moving well in however it is that we want to be able to move as we get older. This is aligned with intuitive eating. If you are a longtime listener, you know that I just finished an entire season on intuitive eating, and this is a Christ-centered intuitive eating show. I do not educate or coach or train for weight loss, and I believe we can have health-promoting behaviors and lifestyles regardless of the body that we are given. God made all sizes and shapes and skin colors of our bodies, and so let's just honor that and steward the body that we have well. I will assume in this episode as well that you are active in some sort of capacity. Also keep in mind that my nutrition coaching certification through NASM, or the National Academy of Sports Medicine, is for general guidelines. If you have specific needs, specific health issues you are working around, please go to a registered dietitian, preferably one that is focused on intuitive eating. And if you don't have one, you can always look for one at intuitiveeating.org or reach out to me, and I have several that I can connect you with. With that, let's jump in. First, let's talk about protein powder. One thing to be aware of is protein powder is considered a food supplement by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. This means it is regulated differently than the other foods that we have that are classified as foods. And I want to hone in on that word supplement. If you choose to use protein powder, use it as a food supplement, not as your primary way of considering protein. God gave us these amazing bodies, and He gave us an abundance of food, plants and animals, whatever you like to consume. And that is what our body is going to thrive best on. Again, this is assuming general population. There are some people who need to have specific types of foods to meet their specific body needs. That's not what this episode, or not who this episode is for. We're talking about general guidelines. First, we want to make sure that we are eating enough. That can be an issue. And with the understanding that all foods are morally equal, there's none of this good foods, bad foods. There are some foods that provide more nutritive value. So those are the ones that have more nutrients. These are what I call nutritionally dense foods. That's the term that I use in my book for teen girls, which does not get into the weeds as much here. It gives it to them in very easily digestible chapters. No pun intended. Nutritionally dense foods and foods that are like you can hold it in the palm of your hand and know where it came from. Those are the ones that will oftentimes help us feel and function best. Is it always the best answer? No, I am not demonizing anything here. But with regard to protein powders and as a food supplement, consider them and use them as a supplement. And this does include protein bars as well. Protein bars are great for on the go. They're great for travel. They're great for I just need to eat something really quickly. But I don't think that those are exactly what we want to have as our primary source of protein. So when possible, use protein powder and protein powder type foods to supplement the whole plants, whole animals, not whole, entire animal, but just whole foods that you consume. Now let's talk about types of protein powder. I'm going to put these into two main categories, but one of them kind of has multi-categories. So one of them is whey. Whey is the protein found in dairy, in milk. If you can consume dairy and you don't have a problem with it, or you can have whey protein, Honestly, that's ideal. And in fact, whey protein isolate, because there's a lot of different types of whey protein, but whey protein isolate is considered the gold standard and has the highest amount of leucine to trigger that muscle protein synthesis. And if you're just joining us for this episode, go back and listen to episode 1 to hear more about what all of that is and what I mean by leucine and muscle protein synthesis and all of that kind of stuff. So that's one category of protein powder. Another category is going to be your plant-based. There are a ton of different types of plant-based. Each different type of plant offers a different amount of leucine. Again, this matters because leucine triggers the muscle protein synthesis, which is what helps to rebuild and repair those muscles. So muscle protein synthesis, a good thing. Leucine, a very good thing. Protein powders, they will have varying levels of that. I know at the grocery store that I go to and I look at all the different plant proteins, there are a ton of them. You can see pea protein and hemp protein and rice protein and soy protein and it's an egg white protein. I mean, there's all kinds of different ones. And actually, I guess that is a third type of protein because egg white is not necessarily whey, clearly, but it's also not plant-based. So egg white protein is another type of protein. According to Dr. Stacy Sims, who I shared in episode 1, is one of the voices who I learned from and who I trust in this space specifically as it relates to women and perimenopause and beyond women. She says that pea, hemp, and quinoa protein are really your best bets for getting a good amino acid profile. Amino acids, or you might see them as BCAA, which are branch chain amino acids, are just a group of 3 essential amino acids that play important roles in our body, particular in muscle function and metabolism. So those also will help promote your muscle protein synthesis. It helps reduce your muscle breakdown. It will decrease your exercise related or exercise induced fatigue. So like when you've had a really big workout, that can help. And then it also helps support recovery for after exercise. Remember, one of the assumptions that I made that I shared in episode 1 is I am assuming you are active in some capacity. So BCAAs are important in our active lifestyle, which yes, you absolutely can get from regular foods. We're just talking about them today in relation to protein powders. So again, pea, hemp, and quinoa protein are good to get that strong amino acid profile. That can be a little hard to find on your grocery shelf. However, I do have one that I feel like fits the bill pretty well for that, and I'll share that here in a minute. When you are looking for a protein powder, here are some things to look for. Number 1, if you can tolerate whey, get one that says whey protein isolate. Again, that's kind of the gold standard for the amount of leucine that it has per serving. Number 2, look for leucine that is going to be about 2.5 to 3 grams per serving. Number 3, just look to see that it has some BCAAs, again, to help with that muscle protein synthesis and just to help give your muscles the support that they need. And then number 4, finally, I feel this is very important. Look to see that it's third-party tested. Food supplements like protein powder are not regulated by the Food and Drug Administration here in the US. So to that end, you don't know if what they are saying on the label is actually on the label. And this can go both ways. You can get way more of something than you think. You can get way less of something than you think. You can have added ingredients in there that are not on the label that may cause issues if you are sensitive to something. So I really have transitioned over the last couple years to almost all of my supplements are third-party tested. Yes, it does cost a little more sometimes. However, in my opinion, it's worth it to know that what I'm putting into my body is what the label says. So look for that third-party testing. How do you know if it's third-party tested? There are 2 dominant third-party testers. One of them is NSF. N as in Nancy, S as in Stacy, and F as in Frida. I don't know. I'm making this up, but NSF. If you go to nsfsport.com, you can do a search and you can find out which products they third party test. I have found it harder to see a comprehensive website for USP, but if you are looking on the label and it says USP, then that means it is third party tested. There are some other supplements and food supplements out there who will do other third-party testing. Another place that does third-party testing is consumerlab.org. So think of consumerlab.org as Consumer Reports, but for supplements. That one requires a subscription. I think it's like $60 a year, but you can go and you can search and you can do your own research with that. I think it's very empowering to do your own research and to know, I mean, you've got to choose what's important to you. And so anyway, consumerlab.org is another great resource for finding some protein powders if you are interested in that. Lately, I have seen a doctor who focuses on menopause and women's health and hormones, and she does a lot of really great education. But she recently came out with some products, and she had those third-party tested. So that is something I would say if you are interested in using her products, then go for it, because she went to the extra effort to ensure that they are safe and that they are third-party tested. So that is something else, in my opinion, is really important to look for in a protein powder. I've had people ask me what my recommendations are for protein powders, and I will share these with you. But just know that one of the reasons I use these is because I can pick them up at my grocery store and they meet some of the needs. This is absolutely not the only ones out there, but it's just what I use. I mentioned that I don't tolerate dairy very well. So unfortunately, I don't consume the whey protein or whey protein isolate, which again is the ideal or recommended one. I do like and feel really good with a plant-based protein. And so the one that I use is, the brand is Garden of Life. And I have to admit, I hate the label because it says Garden of Life, raw, organic, fit, high protein for weight loss. I'm like, don't you be assuming that just because I want protein, I'm trying to lose weight. Like, this is not my goal. So that's probably a little sensitive subject for me, but I do like that one. It has 28 grams of protein in it. It actually has some extra fiber. It has about 2.3 grams of leucine per serving. So it's not even meeting that recommended 2.5 to 3. But again, it's easy. It's convenient. It has some BCAAs in there. It's third party tested. So that's just the one that I like. I buy muscle milk for my kids because it too is third party tested by NSF. It's convenient. It's actually not whey protein isolate. So like I said in the first episode in this series, let's just allow for some nuances. It's convenient. I can get it at the grocery store. I don't have to order it online. So that's why I get it. Also, for my young adult men, they eat differently than I do, to say the least. And so I'm not as worried about them. They're getting lots and lots of protein, which have adequate levels of leucine and BCAAs. So I'm just not as worried about that for them. One place I like to go online is livemomentos.com. If you are a listener of some of the, what I would call bro optimization podcasts, you've probably heard them talking about that. They are sponsored by a lot of them. Honestly, I do think it's good quality product. Dr. Stacy Sims partners with Live Momentos. Again, I trust her. She's a voice I learn from, and I have used a handful of their products and like them. So that's a place that you can go if you want to get things online. Now let's talk about collagen. Basically, collagen helps support your tissues. And so those are your tissues like your connective tissue, your ligaments, your tendons, those type of things. Collagen can be helpful for your joint health. It can be helpful for your skin health. Some studies say that it may support your bone density, hair and nail growth. So there's a lot out there about collagen. I do take it. I actually kind of just restarted taking it. I think I was out and then I forgot to get some, and then it was just kind of like off my thing. So yes, I do take collagen. I don't have as many thoughts about like brands. Again, I just recommend getting one that is third-party tested. But this is what you need to know about collagen. If you turn the label around, it will say like 2 tablespoons is 19 grams of protein. Yes, but it's not a complete protein, meaning it's not going to trigger the muscle protein synthesis. It does have leucine, but it does not have tryptophan. Tryptophan is, you've probably heard of tryptophan before in relation to Thanksgiving because turkey has a lot of tryptophan in it. But because collagen is not a complete protein, you're not going to get the same muscle support from it than you would a complete protein. So just like kidney beans are not a complete protein, you need to have it with like rice. That's why you see so many rice and beans dishes, because then that forms a complete protein because you get all 9 essential amino acids. You do not have all 9 essential amino acids in collagen because you are missing tryptophan. So collagen has its benefits, but in terms of muscular benefits and growth and muscle protein synthesis, they also don't have any BCAAs. So again, you're just not getting that muscular focus from collagen that you do with your animal proteins or your plant proteins that are either complete or paired with something to make a complete protein. Okay, I think I told you in the last episode that I would talk about timing today. I'm actually going to shift that to next week because I feel like talking about the protein powders and the collagen wrap it up really nicely. So that way we've talked about all things supplement with regard to protein. And then on our next episode, we're going to come back. I will talk about nutrient timing, and then I will talk about more specific guidelines. So for those of you who are like, spoon feed this to me, I'm not going to spoon feed it, but I will like put the plate in front of you and let you figure out how much of it you want to eat. Because again, these are general guidelines and we are all different. So we'll get into more of that on the next episode. Thank you again. The other thing that I don't think I mentioned earlier in this episode, but on episode 4, I will be talking about some of the very practical strategies and applications that I have used in my own kitchen rhythms that make things simple and easy for me. And you can go ahead and grab the download now if you want. And so you can get that over at gracedhealth.com/protein-playbook. In that, I provide some recipes that I use that have protein. So these are various forms of protein. I will make the recipe, I will freeze the items, and then I'm able to pull them out so I can enjoy them for lunch, or I can pull 2 servings out and my husband and I will have them, because I tell you what, empty nesting makes things a lot easier, especially when you're not feeding young adult males. But you can get that over at gracedhealth.com/protein-playbook. If you have not followed the show or subscribed the show, I encourage you to do that so you can get the next 2 episodes right in your feed. And if these have been helpful, I have a favor. Can you please either share this with someone, send it via text, put it on your stories, put it on the socials, whatever is authentic to you. Can you please share this, get the word out about it, or leave a rating and review. Those are super helpful as well with just showing people that this is a valuable and a helpful podcast. Okay, that is all for today. Go out there and have a graced day.